Sharing today two of the most commonly misused terms in the real estate purchase contract. I'm Shauna Rowan with MC Team and eXp Realty, sharing the differences between a deposit, a down payment, and overall explaining how they work. Now, to start with a deposit, my favorite example, one that almost always hits home for people, is if you've ever rented, you've given your landlord a security deposit to show good faith that you will take care of the property. As long as you do that, your landlord will return your deposit at the move out date. And essentially, you'll take that deposit and you'll leverage it into other investments or, of course, another rental property. With that being said, the deposit in the real estate purchase contract works the exact same way for buyers and for sellers. A buyer wants to show a seller that they overall love the home, they have skin in the game, and that they will follow the purchase contract agreement. The seller has peace of mind because they know at the end of the day, they have a deposit to leverage to make the buyer perform. As long as a buyer performs and actually follows through the contract, on closing day, their deposit is returned to them in order for them to use in any which way, shape, or form they want to. Alternatively, one thing I hear from buyers all the time is how do I know my deposit is protected? What if I want to terminate? Well, as long as you follow the real estate purchase contract, which has its many checkpoints and exits in the proper manner, you can always terminate per the real estate purchase contract at the right time and place, thereby protecting your deposit and again, having that deposit returned to you in full. As real estate agents, one of our biggest jobs is to actually protect your deposit solely and alone. I don't care which house you buy. You could certainly buy this house or that house. But if I don't protect your deposit as a buyer, I know that you don't have essentially the money you need in order to offer again. So that's why the deposit is A, so important to protect, and B, that's generally what the term means. Now, the difference for a down payment. What most buyers do on closing day when they do get their deposit back is they take that money and they funnel it into their necessary down payment that is owed to the lender. The down payment is a ask for a mortgage. Now, this is different than cash, of course, but if you're seeking a mortgage, this is the ask of the lender to say, essentially, we as the bank are coming with maybe 90% of the money you need to buy the house. We are asking you, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, to come to the table with 10% of that loan. That's your down payment ask. So oftentimes if your deposit is substantial, say it's $20,000 that you're using to essentially hold the house throughout the contractual period, $20,000 might be applicable to cover your entire down payment owed to you, owed to the lender at closing. We'll work with buyers, of course, to read their pre-approval letters to understand what is called LTV, which is what I just described, 90 to 10%, right? 90% is what the bank is coming to the table, 10% is what the buyer is coming to the table. That is in a loan to value ratio. LTV is what you'll see on your pre-approval letter. We'll, as agents, read through that letter, of course, talk to the lender, say, what's the minimum down payment required by this buyer? And we'll find ways for your deposit oftentimes to be reallocated towards your down payment. And that oftentimes is very helpful for a buyer because I always consider it like a little money save move. You take your nest egg, you use it as your deposit to show good faith. Again, skin in the game, the higher the deposit, of course, the more the seller's like, these people really love this home. And then alternatively, the more you kind of put down up front for your deposit, it's a placeholder, it's saved. It's out of, of course, your checking account, it's out of pocket, but it's allocated, it's done for. These are essentially how deposit and down payment work, separately, together sometimes. I also think too, if you're curious about what other costs are part of the purchase contract agreement, and of course, what is going to be required of you as a buyer, certainly watch my closing cost video, which you'll find right here on this page.